What's up, y'all? Jared here. Nope finally released here in Finland, and I figured better late than never with this review. So, spoiler warning, let's get into it. Nope marks Peele's third foray into the social horror subgenre. If Get Out is about the fetishization of black identity and Us is about inequality, then Nope, as many, including Peele and characters in the film have noted, is about spectacle, or simply visual displays that grab our attention.
So it's about spectacle. And from there, I explored that and started to sort of uncover what I think is like the dark side of our relationship with spectacle.
The film is set in and around film productions and entertainers. Eye-catching air dancers and blow-up cowboys are essential items to the plot. Steven Yeun's character calls the aliens the viewers, and our protagonist's primary goal is to capture a compelling image that is, quote, good enough for Oprah, and then to sell it for enough money to save their ranch. Spectacle is even baked into the very fabric of the movie, as in it is literally made of the most immersive, eye-catching format out there, IMAX. But unlike Peele's previous efforts, things are a bit messier here, and it's definitely by design. The symbolic imagery in Get Out and Us contributed to an overall thematic statement in a very clear way. For example, in Get Out, we had white bodies in black cars, foreshadowing white brains inhabiting black bodies. Or later, we had Chris using stereotypically white items like bocce balls and hunting trophies to escape captivity, in a clever twist of using the Master's tools to dismantle the Master's house. Or in Us, symmetrical imagery like scissors and mirrors emphasize the notion that we are the same, but unrecognizably so due to deeply different socioeconomic circumstances. In both films, a clear statement is made. Aestheticizing black identity as something to be consumed is dehumanizing, and rampant inequality is, well, dehumanizing. But in Nope, Peele's statement about spectacle isn't as obvious. There's less emphasis on every object meaningfully building toward a specific social critique in favor of teasing the audience with compelling vagaries that invite a multitude of conclusions about our relationship to spectacle.
You know, I think if I had too clear of an idea of what I wanted them to be thinking about, I feel like I wouldn't be having the conversation with the audience.
Well, Mr. Peele, invitation accepted. So instead of proposing a definitive reading of the film, for this review, I'll propose a multitude of insights about our society of spectacle that can be derived from Jordan's newest film. Let's start with the Bible quote that opens the film. I will cast abominable filth at you, make you vile, and make you a spectacle. On the one hand, this foreshadows the bloody filth and objects the alien discharges all over the ranch, but more importantly, it proposes an understanding of spectacle as something that is necessarily negative. The excerpt casts spectacle as an embarrassment, a humiliation. Now, if I were to make the claim that the film is inadvertently about something more specific than spectacle, it would be that the creation and reproduction of images can change the meaning of spectacle. Imagine a time before cameras or printing presses. If somebody was publicly doused in manure, the spectacle of witnessing a man covered in poo would deepen the humiliation felt by the victim. But in a time where such an event can be filmed, endlessly copied, distributed, and the consumer separated from the original context, the very same spectacle could be a good thing. Hell, it could even turn our poo-covered individual into a widely beloved celebrity. Or maybe you witnessed a chimpanzee tear your colleagues to pieces. Horrifying, devastating, scarring. But if the undeniably attention-grabbing images of disfigured teen idols and blood-strewn sets accumulate so much attention that it becomes immortalized in a legendary Chris Kattan SNL skit, well, the spectacle might just elevate you to a lifelong celebrity who gets paid $50,000 for the chance to sleep near memorabilia you collected from the event. With reproducible images, spectacle becomes a desired commodity. What could once condemn a person can now dignify them. Throughout the film, we see spectacle as a means through which characters elevate themselves and attain recognition. Keke Palmer's Emerald advertises herself as an actor, singer, and director who only trains horses on the side. Training horses is not sufficiently prestigious, and her desire to pursue the much more celebrated line of work providing spectacle instead of preserving the family business serves as the crux of the conflict between her and OJ. Also, Angel's ex-girlfriend left him because she booked a pilot on the CW and is now too famous to date a sales guy at Fry's. Or consider OJ and Emerald's great, maybe there's another great in there, grandfather, a fictional Bahamian jockey whose life we can probably assume wasn't so glamorous. But being the subject of a foundational experiment in the development of cinema, one of mankind's great spectacles, has elevated him to the status of legend. OJ and Emerald's association with this image continues to give them social capital in the industry. Jupe's history as a child actor defines his identity decades after he's done any acting. He's still able to make a living off it and maintains an air of confidence and relative fame due to his years as a television star. He even recounts critical life events through the lens of a spectacle. When asked to describe the infamous Gordy attack, he relives it through a Chris Kattan SNL sketch that he can't stop describing as legendary. Because the reproduction of the event validates it. It elevates it. But there's a dark side to the incredible power of spectacle. Spectacle can dominate our identities. Another way of describing Jupe is that he's consumed by the shadow of his child star days. It's pretty hard to create a new life for yourself when your old one commanded the attention of over 10 million people, and perhaps even harder when that attention is related to a violent event. Despite the fact that the Kid Sheriff show was a much bigger hit, it can't compete with the intrigue of multiple monkey murders. Without Gordy's home, Jupe may have moved on to become a mathematician like the Wonder Years' Danica McKellar, but the morose nature makes his celebrity continue to resonate on some level. When your image is used in service of spectacle, your very being becomes instrumentalized. You become a means to an end, just a collection of dancing pixels that provide entertainment. The very recognition through spectacle that many, like Emerald, idealize can ironically grant no recognition at all. It can only provide a flattened version of yourself, and if you're not careful, you may turn out like Jupe and actually become that flattened version. And I think there's a valid reading of the film in which that is what motivates the violence in the movie. Animals and aliens are rebutting the instrumentalization of their bodies for the sake of spectacle. The horses at the ranch are being conditioned to act in a way that serves the entertainment being produced. When the horse at the beginning sees its reflection in the VFX ball, it sees itself as just an instrument of spectacle and revolts. Some contend that Gordy, similarly a trained monkey for TV, only spared Jupe because he didn't look him in the eye. Jupe didn't see him as the others did, as just a means to pleasing an audience. And of course, the alien, who only attacks if you look at it, wreaks havoc on Jupe and his audience because the event treats its existence as merely the subject of a rousing spectacle. Later in the film, we see the filmmaker Antlers Holst editing film footage of animals fighting, again highlighting the notion of animal behavior alienated from its original context and repackaged as a form of entertainment. At one point, there's a comparison drawn between OJ's horse and the alien when OJ says, "Ghost is out there acting all territorial," and it could be argued that rather being territorial about, well, territory, the conceit that motivates the horror in the film is aliens or animals being territorial about their being, about the effect that the images of them produce. Now, the idea of animals and aliens rising up against humans in a cry for authentic recognition is quite silly. And I think if the film leaned any further into this as the definitive reading, it would likely undercut the effectiveness of the horror and make for a pretty cheesy experience, but that's a good thing. The film skillfully evades a clear-cut meaning, enabling readings such as this one to frame our understanding of the film, but not so precisely as to dispel the mystery and thus the magic. This brings us to the alien, which some have claimed is in the shape of an eye. I tend to prefer the reading that it's in the shape of a lens, or film reels on a camera, that it evokes not just spectacle as such, but the ramifications of spectacle when it can be filmed, copied, and distributed. One reading that conveniently encompasses both interpretations can be found in the philosophical term that I've always found kind of annoying, called ocular centrism. Ocular centrism is just a pedantic way of saying that vision is more important than the other senses, and as such, whatever stimulates the eyes will garner the most attention. Now, the alien could represent the negative ramifications of an ocular-centric society. Or one could also read the alien as a force that has come to reclaim the meaning of spectacle as it was notated in the film's opening frame, as a negative thing, as something to be feared, and thus its mission is to rain terror on those who have separated it from its original context. Now again, all of these are more or less just food for thought assertions, which is really all you're gonna get from this movie. But it's not all bad. I don't want you to think that this movie is a hard-nosed condemnation of our ADD-addled, sensory-addicted brains that want nothing more than dance monkey dance until we die. In some ways, the movie is exactly the opposite.
I was fighting for cinema. I was fighting for the theatrical experience when I was writing this film.
An IMAX experience that works by virtue of its ability to produce compelling images that create a tense atmosphere more than it working based on its plot or characters. Cinema is the child of spectacle, and this film is a celebration of that power. Think of it as a spectacle that highlights the dark side of spectacle while also implicitly praising it. Now, in terms of how I felt about the movie, I thought it was quite good. Not as amazing as Get Out, but probably on par with Us. We can definitely say that Jordan Peele is 3 for 3. Overall, he got all the important things right. Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya are great, and the film is extremely effective at provoking a sense of wonder. But if I had to complain about one thing, it would be that the motivations are sometimes a bit befuddling. For one, I think that making the conflict more about getting a shot rather than surviving an alien attack made some scenes not as tense as they could be. On a whole, this emphasis on getting the impossible shot didn't really work for me. For one, it seemed like getting this shot didn't seem all that impossible since the alien came into full view multiple times, and it doesn't exactly fly faster than a camera shutters. Then the filmmaker, Antlers, climbs to the top of a hill to get that shot, effectively committing suicide for no reason. I mean, I get the feeling that this was supposed to be the tragic demise of a hopeless obsessive, but I didn't feel anything when this happened. Also, the film's conclusion. I suppose we're meant to believe that our protagonists succeed because they are able to finally capture that impossible shot of the alien, and then they'll be able to sell it and save the farm. But then, the alien does explode and fall to Earth, and I imagine that a well-framed shot of an alien is a lot less valuable when there's an alien corpse to be claimed and photographed 1,000 times. No doubt an image of the alien alive is still probably immensely valuable, so maybe I'm nitpicking. Now, the last thing I want to comment on is the levitating shoe. If anyone claims to have figured out what this means, they're probably selling you something. In my opinion, it's just a red herring. It's just a tone-setting mystery meant to invite wonder and provoke fan theories, and it's definitely accomplished its goal, but in my opinion, it doesn't really have any bearing on the film's meaning. Be sure to catch me live on Twitch Wednesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific. Right now I'm playing Cult of the Lamb, which is freaking awesome. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you guys on Twitch, and I will catch you later. Peace.